I purchased this bike end of last riding season 2021. It's October 2022, so I almost had it about a full year now. I bought the bike from the original owner with about 640 miles. The bike has exactly 9,211 on it currently, so that's about 8,500 miles I've put on the bike myself. When I purchased the bike, it was 90% completely stock. The only aftermarket parts were the Touratech skid plate and the Akrapovic muffler. Let's turn in here for a second. We'll go up top here, I'll give you a walk around of the bike. Skid plate and the Akrapovic exhaust. What I did to the bike aftermarket, I put a stage 3 Rottweiler intake system on it. It tremendously helped the power on this bike. It was definitely starving for air, as well as the SAS delete kit, which pretty much deletes all the emission stuff the bike comes with. I also put the Oberon clutch slave cylinder on here. The stock ones are known to fail, so I just went ahead and did that. I went with the Tusk pannier rack just because my other bike has the Tusk setup on it. Now I can just switch the panniers back and forth. Some of you have asked in previous videos what this is. When I turn the bike on and off, this comes on. Not legal. From the factory, if you turn the bike on and off, it will reset to factory settings, so it won't memorize the off-road settings, like turning traction control off and turning ABS off. So I installed the off-road dongle. It just hooks up to the computer system, and this way, once you set your drive mode, street, rain, off-road, whatever it is, whatever you set that to and turn the bike off and turn it back on, it will be set to your previous settings. It won't reset to those factory street settings. Let's hop back on and go for a cruise. I'll give you some more of my thoughts on the ownership of this bike this last year. Number one thing that I love about this machine, the power. In all honesty, it's a bit overkill for off-road. Who needs 150 horse and all that torque? It's nice to have it though, don't get me wrong. And with a flip of a switch, you can cut the power down to 100 horse. You just gotta flip through here and you can select your drive mode. I actually had it on rain mode for some reason. I must have done that a second ago. I'm gonna put it back in street mode. I have ABS and traction control off. Now, I did forget to set traction control back on once, and I was riding on a wet road surface when I passed somebody, and I lost that rear end. So it's definitely a nice thing to have on when you're riding in the rain. Okay, we're back at the highway. Let's get on the other side. Yeah, so the power is awesome. It's not a sport bike. It's not meant to go over 100 miles per hour, really. It gets there quick. Woo! Now that I mentioned one thing that I really like about the bike, I guess let's just go with my number one thing I absolutely hate about this thing, is the engine heat. This thing puts off so much freaking heat, it's unbelievable. I mean, right now, what are we sitting at engine temp wise? 188, but it's only 71 degrees out here. When it's above 80, 85, this thing runs hot, like 210, and puts off a lot of heat, especially off this right side. I thought cleaning out that cat would give it a little bit more flow and maybe help the heat a bit. It really did nothing at all. As well as the seat gets really hot. Just feels like one of those heated car seats. What else do I enjoy about the bike? I love taking this thing on longer trips. It's a great long distance machine, great on the highway. I feel comfortable at like 80, 85. Where the bike isn't sitting too high in the RPM range, and it just feels comfortable. And now another issue is the weight, obviously. Now it is 1200 cc's. and the bike weighs about 500 pounds. Off-road performance, I mean, this thing gets it. You kind of forget about that weight as long as you're moving. Now if you get in a sticky situation where you got to stop or you got to turn around, that's when things get tricky. I've dropped the bike several times. Most of those drops are when I'm trying to turn the damn thing around and I snag the rear tire or something. There goes the bike. Yep. Just gotta drop it. But I've had this thing on I would say nothing extreme, but definitely some trails you wouldn't really want to be riding this type of bike on. More like, you know, 450 dirt bike trails. And it does it quite well. The suspension is fantastic. I haven't messed with it. You can tweak it a little bit. You got a preload and a rebound setting here. I did tweak the rear shock a little bit on the preload setting for when I had the bike weighed down. I'm in a love-and-hate relationship with this thing. Performance-wise, absolutely awesome. I mean, power is amazing, performance is amazing. I love the suspension off-road. Now let's talk about maintenance. I bought it with super low mileage. This is my first ever KTM, and of course we all know the mixed stories and ownership of KTMs, the reliability stories, but I've had no issue, and I do all maintenance myself. For maintenance, I pretty much just did, well, I changed the tires. I did one set of tires, I cleaned the chain, and I did my 9,000 mile oil change, which was a bit of a shocker on how much the filters cost and the damn oil from all the way from Switzerland. 70 bucks for the oil and like 75 bucks for the filter and the two little screen filters. And I did flush the brake fluid on the bike as well. I'll take you guys up to Rabbit Mountain, get out of this traffic. So I did address that clutch slave cylinder issue that may be problematic with the aftermarket piece. The two other things I did not address that are very common, that are pretty much guaranteed to go bad in the bike, is the fuel pump. That is known to fail. No specific amount of mileage, but from what I read, usually happens around 15 or 20,000 miles. The fuel pump will just fail on you. Not a hard fix, just get yourself a new one, just a couple bolts and in and out. Not a huge deal. And something that I did encounter on my road trip was the fuel float. The fuel float gets stuck at certain points and you may get an incorrect fuel reading. It only happened twice. I haven't seen it happen in the last couple thousand of miles, so I just haven't bothered with it. But there's a couple videos online on how to fix it. So there's just a few things that you want to get done if you do own one of these, or if you're looking to buy one of these. Definitely ask about those couple of issues, mainly the fuel pump. That's something that's going to be a little bit pricey, around $250 or $300. So if you're looking to buy one of these, double check with that owner if he's changed that fuel pump and had any issues with the fuel gauge. This route here, I'll give you guys a pull. At about 100 with those off-road tires, it gets a little squirrely, so I don't take it past that. By the way, these Brembo brakes, they are phenomenal. My ABS is not on. Left a nice streak there. Overall, I really did enjoy the bike. over the last 8,500 miles. I mean, I can't complain. It's been an awesome machine. Besides the heat factor. That's my only complaint, really. I got used to the weight, but I'm looking to get into something a little bit more middleweight class for next season. I can't have them all, but we'll see. Who knows? If I do sell this one, maybe a 1290 in the future one day. We'll see what happens. Well, that's just my 2 cents on the bike. I'll catch you guys in the next one.